Do not let people dim your light. If you are a bright light in this life, if you are someone who's just loving and amazing, you have to recognize a lot of shadows are going to try to be under you or over you. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Phoenix Inn. If you're enjoying my content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. There are people that are going to be dimming your light, that are making you feel like you're losing yourself, and it's because you keep giving to them. Stop giving to these people that are draining you, that are being energy vampires, and just overall damaging your life. It's time to cut them off. People that tend to drain others or are ruining your life because you are such a light in this universe, you are such a light on this earth, they're draining you because they're insecure or they want to reflect what you're reflecting and they just don't know how. Sometimes they don't even know it themselves and they don't even know where it's coming from because they don't do the shadow work. And we can't expect people that are insecure and projecting onto people to do the shadow work, because you can't even tell insecure people that are projecting half of the time, hey, you're projecting onto me, can you stop? Have you tried that and seen, where it's gone? It usually doesn't go well. Or they try to make up some lie about how you're actually the one doing X, Y, or Z, and you're really not. So what's the ultimate decision that you have to make? It's to cut them off. I'm gonna go in a little bit about my experience on the people that I attracted and what I did to stop attracting these types of people. I attracted so many women, mostly women and some men, that constantly were insecure, and it didn't show up until later on in life. These friends were just very insecure in themselves, and I couldn't understand because I was young as well, and it just wasn't something very big to me until I got older, and I recognized insecurities are the worst, and I do not like to be around an insecure person that projects. If you're insecure and you can say, hey, I'm insecure about this and I'm working on it and I'm doing better for myself, that's a person I can be around. That's someone I trust. But I don't trust the person that's insecure and doesn't know how to place it in a way that they're healing, they're fixing themselves. If they're placing it onto you by projecting and not doing any work and just blaming others, I can't respect that. I can't be around that. And I know where it stems from. That's why I'm pretty graceful about it, but I no longer accept those types of people in my life. Other than attracting insecure people in my life, I attracted people that were so confused about what they wanted to do, and they were kind of messy. So messy that instead of dealing with their own messiness, they just projected it onto me. And I'm like, you need to deal with your messiness. Whenever I'd ask them, hey, I really care about you, you need to deal with this, they would just project onto me. They're just like, but what about you doing X, Y, or Z? And I'm like, maybe X, but not Y or Z that you just conjured up, because now you're just being crazy. And that was the cycle. I would constantly tell these types of insecure people in my life that, hey, I really care about you. Can you please stop mistreating me, or can you stop this pattern? And they just wouldn't stop. It would cause another issue. And if you can't talk to someone and ask them to please stop mistreating you, they shouldn't be in your life. And honestly, frankly, you shouldn't be asking them. You should just be cutting them off, because we are not here to make people comfortable. We are not here to cater towards others that can't even cater towards themselves and bettering themselves. If you are not someone that is self-improving, you shouldn't be surrounding yourself with people with a very huge light who seek to empower themselves by doing good for the world. Like, you should not be around these types of people. There's already enough going on in the world without some negative person just coming along and trying to destroy what you have because they don't feel whole themselves. That's a little bit about what I attracted. My breaking point was when I finally realized that instead of learning and growing and stop the mistreatment of others, I recognized that, these people weren't gonna stop. My last attempt was to give people the same energy that they give me. So if someone was mistreating me, I decided, hey, let me do the same. Let me treat you the same way that you were treating me. And that was a big mistake. Do not treat people the same way they treat you, especially if it's negative. If someone's mistreating you and being negative to you, just cut them off. There's no need to be treating them the same way. I attempted that once. It didn't go well. It went very haywire, and I tried to explain, I did this because this is how you were also treating me. And the person didn't even acknowledge it. So why am I explaining myself to you? Why am I giving you the same energy? Why am I giving you any energy at all? Just cut people off. I promise you, the universe will reward you in such great peace, because then you're not dealing with the negative people anymore. That's a little bit about what I went through, the people that I kept attracting, and this was over the course of a decade. It took so long, and I went through it, and my message is that I don't want you to go through it. If you're watching this video, I don't want you to be stuck with friends and family or anyone that's mistreating you for years. I don't want you to be second guessing yourself, like, did I actually do this thing this person's saying? No, because you know you didn't. So why are you second guessing yourself? Stop second guessing yourself. Stop allowing these people to mistreat you and to tell you that this is why I did. No, I don't care why you did. And if you know you're an insecure person, I really don't care. You shouldn't care either. This message is for people that are struggling to cut off those negative, toxic people. I don't like using words like negative or toxic, but it's important to be able to identify what is negative, what is toxic. And the spiritual community is getting to a point where they're like, I don't like using words like negative or positive. And that's fine, but we need to use words like negative or positive for our brains to understand what is negative or positive. After we've learned the lesson, then we can stop using those words as much. And you'll find that when you cut these types of people off, you won't really need to be thinking about what's negative or positive. You're thinking about what's negative or positive because you're around these negative people all the time. So therefore you have to think about, what does positive look like, you know? Just cut them off. The universe will keep sending you the same energy over and over and over again. Let me be an example of why you should not continue to allow those people in your spaces, in your life. Don't make excuses for them. I made excuses for 10 years because I really cared about these people. I still do, you know. I treasure the relationships I had, you know, when I was younger, and even the negative ones, because I learned something from it. I learned what I don't want to be around. I learned that not everyone is, you know, on the same journey of self-healing, of self-love, of loving others and doing good for the world. Not everyone's on that journey right now. And it doesn't mean that they're always going to be negative, but if you continue to enable them, they will continue to be negative. So be that light for yourself. Do not let people dim your light. Because if you are a bright light in this life, if you are someone who's just loving and amazing, and you're doing good for yourself, and you want to keep doing good for the sake of humanity, for Earth, then you have to recognize that's going to come with some shadows. A lot of shadows are going to try to be under you or over you, and you don't want that. You want to remove those things, learn those lessons, and move forward. The biggest thing I could say that you should do to avoid these types of peoples and these types of patterns is to do the inner work. Go within yourself, because I didn't stop it overnight. It took me 10 years. It took me 10 years to finally recognize why I kept attracting these types of men and women. Once I finally went within myself and I'm like, oh, that's why, because I was lacking boundaries. I had boundaries, and then I completely took them apart because of delusions. Have your boundaries, build your boundaries, and if you find you have to keep building boundaries for a specific person, no, you shouldn't be building boundaries to that extent for anyone. Cut them off. And this isn't to say like with people that you can't get around or cut off. Like if there's someone that you are unfortunately living with, or their family that you're living with, and you can't get out of the situation, you know, find other means to get around it, to disengage from those negative, toxic patterns. Find ways, because, you know, I've dealt with situations like that where you can't get out of it. So my advice to everyone is to do the inner work and recognize why you have certain people in your life that are trying to dim your light and overshadow you. After you do the inner work, put into play the boundaries that you need. And if that still doesn't work with these people, just cut them off. That's always the best option. It's easier said than done, but just cut them off, because the relief that will come from it is so strong that you're going to recognize all the changes in your life and in your body. You're going to feel so much more healthier if you just go for it and don't look back constantly. Spiritually, the universe is always going to send you those same lessons. And with all the advice I've given, I hope you guys have learned something. And if you're currently dealing with this issue of attracting the same people or attracting negative people in your life and you want to get rid of it, I hope that you've taken the advice of really recognizing who you should and should not have in your space. And it really takes going within, because I didn't just find the answer overnight. I had to go within multiple times to figure out what it was that was causing this. And it felt so surreal, because I'm like, how can I keep attracting the same person through another person? And it's because we're all reflections, you know? It's all connected. And I don't want you guys to keep attracting that. So I hope I reached out to the community, to the people that I need to reach out to the people that are dealing with this and don't have the voice that they need right now, and just don't have the energy that they need to have to deal with this, because it can all be so draining. It affects your body. You feel like heavy weight, dead, if you don't get rid of these types of people. That's the message. That's the message from the higher ups, the universe. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great night.